G'day, Ben from Melbourne here. It's been a long time between drinks since we did a vinyl pickups video. April, I believe, was the last one. So this one's going to cover June, July, and August. Had a pickups thing, I guess, for all of the shit I bought when I was overseas. But this is focused on all the Australian stuff that I have got since way back in June. And some pretty cool stuff, if I do say so myself. But I do want to start off with a few upcoming things which are quite exciting to me. First of all, that band that hardly ever releases a record called King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, as part of their bootleg series. They got a bazillion live releases on that already, but I'm excited about this one because it is the whole of Nonagon Infinity live, my favorite record by them. And when they play that bastard live, it is smoking. So that is a good one to stick in your lizard file, if you will. And from New Zealand, neighbours, friends, the great David Kilgour gets a reissue of his album Feather in the Engine. If you're unfamiliar with David Kilgour, you may know his band The Clean, seminal Flying Nun band from the early 80s, which was him and his brother Hamish, sadly no longer with us, and Robert Scott, who went on and formed the Great Bat. Check out anything with those three involved and you're guaranteed a good time. The Church are reissuing what I think is their best album, Blurred Crusade. Really good to have some of their other stuff besides Starfish back in print. Starfish is a great record, but they released a ton of great records up to that point. New ones by the Quivers, the Jangle Indie Rockers, called Oyster Cuts. I think that's on Merge Records, so good on them getting in a big international release. Gut Health, who I featured here before, released some great 7-inches, 2 I believe, so that punk funk feel. I think they're probably very much influenced by that early 80s New York punk funk kind of thing, James Chance, ESG, all that sort of gear. And their debut record's going to come out soonish, called Stiletto. The great Jake of Oz Mutants, Frowning Clouds, and 1,000 other bands. His ongoing solo project under the name of Alien Nosejob has yet another release called Turns the Color of Bad Shit. Let's hope he doesn't go for colored vinyl and use that as the template. It will be a good record though. He's very consistent, Jake. The Mighty Straight Arrows, after quite a while, are back with a record called Surface World. Awesome garage rock with great hooks and catchy choruses. Sydney band, great stuff. I did a shed burner, or whatever the fuck I'd call it at the time, on them and featured their 3 or 4 records, and it's got lots of snippets of their music. Killer band. Numero have been reissuing the Scientist stuff, which I'll show you in a minute, but there's still one on the way. You get what you deserve, so it's on Numero. You got no excuse to get your Scientist collection happening. What else? Party Dozen have a new album called Crime in Australia. Drum and sax madness, and not sax like your mother told you about. That somehow sounds wrong. Anyway, let's not think too much about that and move on to the next one. The Big Cavester, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, releasing, I think, in August. Wild God, first Bad Seeds record, I think, since pre-COVID. Him and Warren did one during that called Carnage. So looking forward to see where he's at with that, because the last 3 been brilliant, a bit more mellow, but I think this one is, all guns blazing from all reports. And lastly, the big one, the box set of the Saints' I'm Stranded. 4 LPs of awesome goodness. The greatest band in the history of the world. You can argue all you like, but you would be wrong. So here's the breakdown of what is in this mega awesome set. It's also through In the Red, so you got no excuse not to get some Saints in your collection. The first album, I'm Stranded, has notoriously been out of print for a long time, and the two after that, these are the three I am always concerned with, are the ones when it was Ed Cooper in the band still, and not Chris Bailey and some randoms. So those other two, Prehistoric Sounds and what's it called? Just going to have a sneak peek. Eternally Yours. Should know that if I say they're the greatest band in the world. Those two, anyway, are always being reissued. But yeah, I'm Stranded. Great to see. So, what do we got? Remastered. Of course it is. Everything's remastered. Got two versions. The original I'm Stranded LP, an alternate mix, which has been unreleased before, which I heard an interview with Ed, and he was pretty excited to get that one out there. And live in Sydney, and some studio stuff recorded in London, and then another live LP recorded at the Hope and Anchor in London. So pretty awesome stuff. And of course in November the Saints are playing some live shows. It's a rejig Saints, of course. Chris Bailey died a few years ago, so we got the mighty Mark Arm from Mudhoney fronting them, which I think is a great choice. Mick Harvey on bass, on second guitar, because apparently Ed recorded second guitars, which he was never happy with not being able to achieve that live by himself with the Saints, so he's trying to get them as close to the records as possible. Apparently, Peter Oxley on bass and the original Saints drummer Ivor Hay. So that is going to be fun and shenanigans for all. So I've gone on and rhubarb for 7.5 minutes before I've showed an actual record of the shit that I've picked up. So let's get into it. These Immortal Souls, finally Roland S. Howard's band, which he led with, featuring epic soundtracks, his brother Harry and Genevieve McGuckin. Amazing band, only released 2 records. This one's Get Lost, Don't Lie. Who is this through? Mute Records. It's just so good to see these back in print. I have an original of this one. I know I was going to be all, look at the colour, but it's black. And this one I've never seen on LP before. I have the CD, which was the follow-up, called I'm Never Gonna Die Again. Just brilliant stuff. Again on mute. Cool inners and blah de blah. Again, black vinyl. And the cool thing is they've also released a disc called Extra, and it literally is just stuff which they never released, some live stuff where there's a version of Some Velvet Morning, which earlier Roland did a version of that with Lydia Lunch, and then some remastered songs which will B-sides and what have you. Again, this is on mute, and I think this is like a cool picture in the inside there. Some wordage. And this one, what do you know? Black vinyl. Alright. Also got Robert Forster's album. Robert Forster, of course, from the Go-Betweens. Songs to Play. This was the last one I had to get to now have all of his solo albums. Like, just so consistently great. Bit of non-understandable wordage. It's a black vinyl. Comes with a CD. Just, yeah, if you like the Go-Betweens, you're going to love Robert Forster's solo stuff. Now, the aforementioned Saints, which has been reissued. I've got a Harvest version of this as well. This is released by Music on Vinyl, so should be able to track this down easy enough. This is a classic record. It's, know your products on this, which I believe the sax part was a big influence on Midnight Oil's Power and the Passion. It's got Australia on here and one of the greatest songs they ever did called This Perfect Day. This one comes on beautiful pink vinyl, and they have done a similar label. Even it says Parlophone, but it looks similar to my Harvest one. And there is also a inner with some wordage in there as well, which we love. Picked up a couple of 12 inches by the Go-Betweens. This one right here. So a bit later on in the Go-Betweens career, backed with A Little Romance, Don't Call Me Gone, When People Are Dead on Beggar's Banquet. Something fell out. So that's the label there. It's the same on the other side. So let's not get too carried away and show that. Of course, this one I showed in my video of what I got in Japan. There's another 12-inch of Spring Rain, backed with The Life at Hand and Little Joe. This one I think is also on Beggar's Banquet. Yep, there's the label there. Great stuff. Classic Australian band. And this one, these have been a reissue program for TISM for a while, but I hadn't picked up anything, and I wanted the first album, Great Truckin' Songs of the Renaissance. Hard to explain this band to international people who may not know that. Some people might think of them as a joke band. They kind of are. But they are very good at pointing the finger at all of the fucked up cultural shit in Australia and, just our social strata, I suppose. But to give you an idea, I'll just read out a few song titles, and that might either put you off or you might go, yeah. So, Saturday Night Palsy. If You're Creative, Get Stuffed. The Ballad of John Bonham's Coke Roadie. Martin Scorsese is really quite a jovial fellow. And the big hit, Defecate on My Face. And the one that some people might get offended by out there in the VC, Kill Americans. But I like The Penis is Mightier Than the Sword. So it's a bit of a nice deluxe set with the gold foil on there, and it's, I don't know if you can see the texture on that, and a big gatefold there, and cool inner, some wordage on this groovy red coloured vinyl, with some black splotches. I don't know what you would call that, but I like the look of that myself, being a Essendon supporter, even though we're gone shit this year. So there's the Boys Live, more wordage, and this is probably just the same colour. There you go. All right. Now, we spoke about the Scientists and their reissues on Numero, and this is one of them, Weird Love. Done a great job with these reissues. Really hard to get the originals. But I got them. Ha ha ha, says the wanker from Australia. But you got to have it all. You know what it's like collecting stuff. You got to double up. You got to do this. Well, this was great. I showed, probably in April or a bit before, there's been reissues of the great Simon Bonnie's band, Crime and the City Solution, which are a bit of a underground superstar band. But the ones that hadn't released were the first two, which featured my man, Roland S. Howard, and particularly this one, A Room of Lights, with the awesome Six Bells chime, which if you've ever seen the Wim Wenders film Wings of Desire, you'll see them live in a cafe bar kind of thing as part of the film. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds are also there, but for me, Roland blows Nick off the stage. He just looks so cool with the smoke dangling out of the mouth and that amazing guitar tone. Nice yellow vinyl there. Gee, this is going to be a long video. That's the other one, Just South of Heaven. There they are there. Of course, you'll probably see Mick Harvey in there as well, who's also known for the Bad Seeds. Bit of wordage. What colour is this? Oh, it's a nice blue colour. And this got a little poster. Isn't that lovely? Okay, next up, The Saints again. Another Music on Vinyl reissue of Prehistoric Sounds, the third and last album with Ed Baby before it became Chris's soul project. Now this one, it's got a bit of inner action photos there. Poor Ivor just really couldn't let go of the baldness. That's a really bad comb over. Just get it off if you're going bald. Just get it off, man. Everyone can tell when you're swimming or it's a windy day that you're bald. So comb overs just aren't a happening thing, dudes. I'm going to do one more because this is at 17 minutes and split this into two. And yeah, because there's heaps of shit. There's a heap of new records too I want to show you. So one more Scientist one, released again on Numero, reissued, sorry, I should say. Great yellow stuff. This is like the first Scientist album. Great stuff. This is when James Baker was on drums, who'd be the drummer for every band ever, like on the first Hoodoo Gurus album, Be Suburban, Dubrovniks, everything. Awesome. Legend. There's the back cover. And let's just call it now, and I'll see you in part 2. Of course it was going to be a part 2. I'm trying to cover like 2.5 months. What was I thinking? See you in the next one.